Hi there. Following on to my recent video regarding DOBbing with insurance, I thought I'd make a slight modification and show you another way of achieving the same ends. You'll notice that I've got the same two bets, the £25 DOB and the £75 insurance bet, except I do not have an offset bet for the DOB. And instead, what I'm actually doing is going to use an automated green up. The same sort of thing that I use all the time. Now we know, as I've configured it, that if you were to DOB, we're DOBbing at a 50% drop to give us a £50 profit based on a £100 overall stake. So my green up is simply that. It's going to be greening up when the market hits the the £50 profit point. So what we've got here in actual fact is a trade as before with a 25% offset, but a straightforward back bet of £25. And we are trading out once we hit that profit target. Now the reason for doing that I have explained in a previous video why I like to use an automated green up process. And I'll link to that video at the end of this one. Suffice to say that quite often you will get better lay odds if you use this way than if you had a predetermined exit point sitting in the market waiting to be taken as the market comes along to gobble it up. So instead of trading out for £50 plus or minus a pound, I'm expecting that when the green up process triggers, I'll be looking at 55, 60 as a profit, possibly even as much as 70 or 80, depending on how quickly the odds move in that particular race for that particular selection. So I've actually set this up for the next 6 races or so, just to test it, and so I'll record this race as it's going on just now, and I'll skip across to the last race and then let you see all the results in between. So we're still waiting for our insurance bet to be taken. We were quite close there for a moment. We need to get down to 3:15, as you can see here. Still half of the race to go yet, so still plenty of time. I have to say the racing this afternoon, typical for a Monday afternoon, is pretty poor. So unlike yesterday's results, I'm not expecting such dramatic returns, but we'll see how it goes. Of course, all I'm really doing is just testing the green up process here, more than anything else. So hopefully we'll get 2 or 3 doing what I want them to do. Again, I'm just using or taking my cue from the NAPS checker selections, and quite a few of them today are quite short odds. So although I've used them as part of this process, they wouldn't necessarily be selections in the real world as I test this. Very much personal preference though. If you've got another selection process where you're looking for DOBs, whether you're using the time form and historical performance in running, or whether you're using form figures or whatever mechanism you're using, you're obviously completely dependent on the success of your selections. So it's not so much the strategy as such, it's the selections that there are the important thing. So this isn't looking too hopeful at the moment. Never let it be said that I show you only winners. Just looking back at the NAPS checker selections on another screen here. Prince Claney, I presume that's how you pronounce it. was certainly by far the most favoured, but not doing so well at the moment. It's trying though, very close to getting out. We're just a little nibble there. No, it's the insurance bit hasn't been fully taken, and still desperately trying to get there. But there we go, finally. So because I don't have a trade set up for 25, I obviously don't have the corresponding exit point. But there you see the green up process just being triggered, and there you see our greened up positions is 52 across the field, with 67 sitting on our preferred runner. And that's why I use an automated green up process. Another excellent example, and there's lots of examples like that throughout the channel. So yeah, let me just bring up the watch list again. So I've got a number of races set up till 4 o'clock today. So we'll record all those, or sorry, I'll pause the recording and come back for the last race, but let you see the results for all the races in between. Cheers. Okay, the last race for this video, Lingfield 4 o'clock. There's been ongoing delays at Lingfield, so we're still just arrived at the post yet and haven't started loading. But since my bets go in at the scheduled off time, so I've gone in at 4, and the odds on Bobby's Blessing have continued to come down. So let's hope that trend continues into the race. In the meantime, whilst we're waiting for that race to start, you'll see the results from the races since I left you last. So we've had 2 successful insurance bets, so we've had 2 scratched trades and 3 successful. Now the point to note here, of course, is that those profits are a little bit more than the target of £50. Essentially, we've got £32 more profit than we otherwise would have had if I'd used a £25 stake trade with an offset of 50%. And that's great. As I say, that's the main reason I use an automated green up strategy. So in essence, that £32, that's what, 21% more profit than I otherwise would have had if I'd used a DOB trade with my closing offset sitting in the market waiting to be taken, rather than waiting for the market to come to me and then submitting the corresponding bet. And that's why I do it. So yeah, we're just starting to load in this last race, this novice race. We need to get down to 3 for an insurance bet to be covering all our stake. But let me just skip ahead once this race is underway. Okay, we're off and running. We want it to come down to 3, so we get our insurance taken. Pretty damn close at the moment. Of course, this is only a 7 furlong race, so this will be over fairly shortly. And there's our insurance starting to get taken. We're nearly there, that's it. So we're all good to go. So this will need to drop to 2 for the 50% profit target to be triggered. So we've got half of the race to go. But as that's busy chugging along for the next few seconds, just let me remind you of the setting. So that's the original trade that I showed you yesterday. It's been substituted with this one here, which is just a straightforward back trade. So that is just a back bet of £25, and it uses this green up all button, or this green up all rule, I should say, to green up, assuming the 50% or the £50 target has been reached, which doesn't look like it's going to happen in this particular instance. But the insurance bet has worked, so we've traded out okay. no harm done. And of course, that's the whole reason for the insurance. But the main reason for this video is to show you the alternative of using a green up rule like this rather than using essentially a traded green up, if you like. The difference between the two, of course, is that the closing lay lies in the market waiting for the market to come to it and get gobbled up, whereas a green up option waits for the market to come down to a particular trigger point before the bet is submitted, and consequently you quite often get better odds for your trade. So that's it, folks. Thank you very much. I'll speak to you later.